We'll start to kick this speed up a little bit. Little by little, we'll raise the speed on the whites so we can develop those very smooth, creamy white peaks. The more you whisk the egg yolks, the paler the mixture becomes. What we're looking for is a nice ribbony texture, and we're still pretty thin at this point. You can do this also in a stand mixer, but I prefer to do it by hand. Your mixture starts to thicken up. You can see how pale the mixture has gotten, and in fact it's getting nice and thick, and we're just getting to the beginning of the ribboning stage. This is a classic technique, whisking the yolks in the sugar, and in fact one of the classic cakes, a sponge cake called a genoise, you have to go through this same procedure. And doing it in culinary school, I remember everybody just crying and, oh, my arm is breaking, and switching arms back and forth, and everybody hated the days when we had to make the genoise. Kick this up another notch. You have to be patient with soufflés, not only in the mixing of the initial ingredients, but also when you put it in the oven, because failure is very, very easy to do, because if you continue to open the oven, you can get a chill and the soufflés will drop immediately. You can either get a perfect soufflé, you can do 4 of them together, and 3 of them can be beautiful, and for no good reason that you can think of, one can be just collapsed completely. Now you can see how much thicker this is and ribbony. 1 more minute, we'll be done with this. I'm going to add some of the leftover sugar. Remember, we added half of the sugar to the egg yolks along with the Grand Marnier and the orange zest. The other half we reserved because we're going to put that in with our egg whites. What's going to happen is that sugar is going to melt down. It's going to make these egg whites very, very shiny and glistening, and it's actually going to help to hold the volume on the egg whites. I think we're good with the egg yolks. Get our spatula ready. Another minute with the egg whites. Once these egg whites are at nice firm peaks, we're going to take a little bit of the white mixture and we're going to blend it in with the yolks. That will help lighten that yolk mixture so that when we put the remaining 3/4 of the egg whites in and attempt to fold them, it'll be a much easier process because we've in fact lightened the egg yolk mixture. Okay, we're just about there with the whites. We're in our final speed now. And we'll take a look at that. Oh, I need 1 more minute. Let's take another look at our soup and give it a stir. Now all that bread is starting to break down, and that bread again is going to act as our thickening agent. Okay, 1 more little whip with this. Just get everything ready for our next course, which is going to be our beef. Again, the beef is going to be a pan-to-plate dish, meaning that the beef is cooked, the sauce is created, all in the same pan, and then it's delivered right to the dish, so there's minimal amount of cleanup with the steak au pois. Okay. Nice firm peaks. We're going to take some of this white mixture and blend it in with our yolks. We don't have to worry about breaking down the volume for this part of it because we're going to do the next part in a soft folding technique. Okay, now the folding portion of this, we want to come from the middle and work our way back through the inside and the outside. Start in the middle, wind up on the outside, start on the outside, cut through the middle. Don't want to mix it up too much because you'll start to break down the volume. We have to butter and flour our ramekins. So I'm taking a little bit of softened butter and just brushing our ramekin, making sure to get all of the inside corners and edges. This is one of those little tasks that you can get the kids involved with. I'm sure they'd enjoy to do this for about 15 minutes. Gives you a little bit of peace and quiet. We can shut our fan down. What I like to do with the sugar is I pour in the first ramekin some sugar, about halfway full. These need to be buttered and sugared. I take my second ramekin and I tilt the one I'm filling with the sugar to the side, and I start to spill it out and just revolve it in a circle into the next one that's being done. This way, as you go all the way around, the entire ramekin gets coated with the sugar. And just keep going from ramekin to ramekin. Check them well to make sure that they're all coated with the butter and the sugar. And I've buttered a few extra just in case we have some extra batter. Now to put the batter for the soufflés into the ramekins, I like to use an ice cream scoop. Anything that you spill on the edges, we're going to clean up before we put it in the oven. And one more. Okay, let's get rid of this. Now we take these and just tap them down a little bit, and we run our finger around the edge just to make sure that we have nothing on the edges. Again, patience is the key with souffle. And don't be upset if your first attempt ends in failure. Placing them in a preheated oven. When soufflés fail, the aesthetics are destroyed, but they still usually taste wonderful. Providing you followed the recipe, they still taste good. It's just more of a wet, little thin sponge than a big, fluffy souffle.